Could you explain and show the example how to spot boost of an item on Steam Market? Right, so with this, basically with this, you can easily see its history, right? First of all, always keep an eye on its history. What is going on here? This skin, incredibly unwanted for a long time. Look at that. For about, ever since, what was it? Is this March 2019? 2020? I don't know. You could see for a long time nobody cared for this skin. But all of a sudden, it shoots up in price. What's going on there? Well, as I said, once you look at all of the buy orders, look to the right, you can see the bulk of the buy orders only really goes up to about 80 cents. But all of a sudden, someone's offering about 3-4 times the price. This is manipulation. Now, buyout manipulation is different. Buyout manipulation is like when a very old skin randomly appears on the front page. And because I don't have an example right here in front of me, this is going to be a little bit awkward. Why is Junkyard King gloves at 0 quantity? I think we just found our example. So, what's happened here? This is Junkyard King gloves. They are not super in demand. They are fairly vintage. But basically, you might notice that these buy orders only go up to about $2. But over here, as you can see with its history, yeah, it's kind of stuck around around the $1.50, $2 range. But all of a sudden, do you see that bump up right there, that spike? Well, this is textbook buyout manipulation. Someone came along and bought out all of them. He's going to try and make it seem that this is valuable when it isn't. Always keep an eye on the buy orders to the right, look at the prices to the left, and then you make a consideration. Is this matching up to this? Does this support? Is it pushing up the price, or is it quite clear as day manipulation? For example, let's go take a look at the likes of the black gold hoodie, right? Refresh. 400 sales almost in 24 hours. God damn. Oh. Right, so, yeah, a lot of people like that. That's cool. So the buy orders. Look how nicely they're next to each other. This is currently selling for $4.61 at its lowest price. Over here, the highest buy order is for $4.28. That is very close to each other. That comes across to me as genuine. This appears to be a $4.60 skin. Because right here, the guy buying it for $4.28, he probably just wants to buy it, or he might just be able to sell it for a little bit of a profit if he buys it. Make sense? So the buy orders support the price. Does that make sense? Because it goes all the way up to here, and it's very close to the cheapest one. Does that make sense, Mr. Secret? That is the best way to identify if a skin genuinely has the demand. But if we go back to that rock, so that rock's actually a very good example of manipulation, because the guy outright just said, hey, let's go buy it, let's pump it up. Look at it. Look at it. Look at the buy orders. This is $11. This is $3. Do you think this is worth $11? No, it's not. It's not worth it. Nobody actually cares for this. It was just pumped. You go down to its history, and you can see it for yourself. Let's look at the past few months. This was selling for around, at most, maybe between $1.50 to about $3. No, about $2. So more recently, this was selling between $2 to $3 at most. And then the manipulation starts. Yeah. So, do you honestly think this is worth $11? No. It's quite obviously manipulation. I looked at its history. I looked at its price, the lowest price one here. I looked at the buy orders. Do the buy orders go all the way up to the price? Does it support it? No. Manipulation. Avoid. Simple as that. That is textbook, easy to see, simple. Right then, guys, so I was talking about manipulation, but it's not always straightforward. It's not always super easy to notice. So, let's now look at the frozen turkey. And, wow, that's quite expensive, isn't it? But is it actually worth it? Well, I guess you could say this might be a successful manipulation, because when you look at the history of this rock skin, which was, God, when did this come out? I think it came out like 4 or 5 years ago. It's quite old, which would mean it doesn't really have that many skins in circulation. One quick way that we could just quickly find out about how many are in circulation, go to the View Workshop, scroll down, and it says there's around 213 current subscribers. That doesn't always check for duplicate sales, but this would imply that there's not that many of these in circulation, which would mean that it's prime and ready to be manipulated. People would have noticed. And this is where I'm talking about this skin, because as you can see, for a long time it was gradually going up in price, as it would. Not many of them were in circulation. There wasn't that many rock skins for a long time. Eventually there was a whole lot more, but because this was an old skin, it would always ever so slightly gradually rise up in price. But then randomly, more recently, it went jumped up in price. What's going on here? So if we can just quickly focus this time period a little bit more, can you see how this was kind of going up and down around the $10 region for a long time, but then randomly it goes up in price? What happened here? Well, if you kind of go around this period just as it starts, you might notice some people just randomly happen to buy 8, 10, 2, and I believe there's a 17 here. Some people were buying out all of the stock. Sorry, I'm going to have to zoom back out. Go back into here a little bit again. Someone bought out 17. There you go, 17. There wasn't that many quantity on the market. They noticed and they attacked. This is a coordinated and very well done manipulation. So they bought out all the stock, and on the various accounts that they had, they were listing them higher and higher and higher. Chances are they were also bumping up the price with buy orders. So when I look at this over here, the buy orders, some of them might be genuine people that want to buy them, but I think quite a few of these here are fake buy orders, as in they're just there to make it seem like it's valuable. Now when you look at all of the buy orders in the past, it's very thin. It definitely doesn't seem like this always had 11, 10, and then these here, these prices. What I'm saying is, they have successfully bought out the vast majority of the stock that was in circulation within their grasp on the Steam market, and now they've listed all of them at a higher price. Maybe not all of them. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a whole bunch of them in some inventories. But do you get the idea how they've noticed that there was something very vulnerable, they attacked it, and they tried to make it seem a whole lot more valuable? Technically speaking, much like what happened with the barbed wire rock. So, sorry, I've got a little head pop up here. Just keep an eye on things like this. You don't want to be the poor fella that buys it and then suddenly it crashes in price because the pumpers have disappeared. Will this always be quite expensive from now on though? I can't guarantee it, but the manipulation probably means this is going to probably stick around this price because it is an old skin. It's not like it's super easy for more to just randomly appear. But quite recently, again, we saw some very similar patterns happening. So what we have here is the Forest Raiders boots. But hang on a minute, it's only $2. What are you talking about, Hedge? Well, this came and went. This was a proper pump and dump. I don't know what happened in regards to where they all went, all the boots, but you can quite clearly see something happening here. So, around May and June time, something happened here. Forest Raiders is a popular set. It's green camouflage, but someone or a group came along and started buying out 50, 200, 40, 50, lots and lots and lots of quantities of all of these boots. And suddenly, before this was selling for about $2, it shot up and started to sell for about $9 to $10. Quite ridiculous, don't you think? Yes, because it wasn't genuine. It was a pump, and then it got dumped. So pump, and then once they stopped boosting it, it went down. You've got to keep an eye on these things. It happens quite regularly, and well, it's happening again. It's happening all over again. So, what we see here is the Glister hoodie, and if we go check its history, yeah, for a long time, it wasn't very in demand. Glister set came out this year, and it started off, I believe, with the Tier 2. and then we got the clothing, and then we were waiting for the tier 3. We were waiting and waiting and waiting. There was a genuine anticipation period where loads of people were waiting for that tier 3 to appear to complete all the core parts of the collection, but it never came. But what still remained was the manipulation. So these guys popped along and they just appeared and bought out everything. So it's just doing like 20 sales here and there, but then randomly it starts to sell quite a lot, 50, 70. It goes up even higher, 127, steadily going increasing in price. So now we went from about $1 and we've shot up to around $10. It's just kind of sitting there for a long, long, long time. It's gradually going higher and then doubled in price. And then it started to sell for around $20 to $30. This is where we are today. Is the Glister hoodie genuinely worth that price? Well, there's a very easy way to break that down. All I have to do is search for all of the Glister clothing and armor. So if we just do that, clothing, armor, and as you can see, in comparison, it just doesn't match up as well, does it? You might say, oh, but the Glister pants is also being attacked. This is a whole lot easier to notice. As you can see, to the right, do you see all those random buy orders that just popped up? The buy order build-up before was going up to about 80 cents. But then some people pop along, 10, 31 here. They're trying to pump it up. And if you look at the history, you can quite note... well, you can't even see anything really, can you? So if we look around here, again, you can't even see much. For a long... so this was selling... so around June time, it was selling for around $1, and then it started to pump up. It's not super easy to see though, because this didn't go as high as the hoodie. But there is one thing that you can do if you have an ability to change currencies. You can quite easily sometimes see that these buy orders kind of are a straight number if you find the right currency. Oh look. A straight 800 right here, and 450 there, and 3666666 there. Yeah, and if we go over here, is it the same currency? Well, so 184.01 there, and a 1370 right there. Yeah, it's probably not as straightforward, but before, especially with the likes of the Glister hoodies, when they were a fair bit cheaper, all of the buy orders was like 300 and 400 ruble. So I think we figured out the group that's involved with that. Just be aware of manipulation. Just because it looks like something is valuable doesn't 100% mean it's actually worth that price. That was a very long talk, wasn't it? But I hope you're more aware of how to approach it. Look at the price, look to the side, look at its history, and see, well, quite recently, something's gone weird here. But I should also point out, you know, some YouTuber might make a very interesting video showcasing off a skin. That would be genuine demand. A lot of people, a lot of fans might want to copy their favourite YouTuber. It does happen quite a lot. So it depends on the type of influence. Some people might do a video to showcase off a skin to show how well it works to, you know, hide in a bush or camouflage your base in certain environments. And then one guy just might turn around and say, hey, I want to buy a new rock. And he gets one. And then everybody wants to copy him. It's as simple as that. So manipulation is to deceive other people for a personal gain. But genuine demand from influence is more a case of fans of people want to try out exactly what that YouTuber or that streamer, what they did. So that's basically it. Thank you for watching.